Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be continuing with my Q&As for this week leading up to The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 3, 4 Walls and a Roof. So I'm really liking this kind of format of Q&As, doing a couple Q&As a week, maybe 2 or 3, where when I run out of specific video ideas, we can just do general Q&As and kind of talk about some of the things with the previous episode and what we think is going to happen with the episode coming up. So I'm probably going to continue these all season. If you guys like them, let me know right in the comments below. Just let me know what you think, because it's hard to come up with unique video ideas every day for specific discussion topics. These allow us to talk about more things at once in one video. So yeah, this will be the second Q&A leading up to The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 3. I did the previous one yesterday, and so, you know, there isn't as much to talk about this week, I feel like, after the second episode, as there was after the first episode, because the first episode, the premiere, was so huge. We had the return of some great characters. Spoiler warning, by the way, anyone who hasn't seen all the episodes up to here yet. We had, of course, getting to see Morgan again, getting to see that he's on their trail, on the right track to finding them. Just all the crazy things that have been going on with the premiere and everything. So second episode, still great. Third episode, excited to see tomorrow night. Can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. That said, if you guys have any other questions, I might do a Q&A for tomorrow too. If I get enough good questions, please private message them to me, send them to me, and I may use them for the Q&A for tomorrow if I do one. So we'll see. Yeah, so of course excited for the episode, and not much else to say in terms of channel updates. Going to continue with all the regular type videos and, you know, reviews, predictions, top fives, you know, video discussion topics, everything like that. So first question for today's comes from Jørgen Fonstad, and he or she asks, "Hey Trev, Q&A question, why do you think they cannot eat walkers? If the infection of virus is in the walker's teeth." Okay, so my thoughts on the people of Terminus eating walkers, or cannibals eating walkers in a zombie apocalypse. Well, I would think generally their flesh is decaying, so they would probably get a bacterial infection if they were to eat a walker. You know, at least, even unless it was just like freshly turned, then you could have an argument whether or not, if someone just turned and the walker was killed and then they ate the person, would they die, would they not? Garreth probably knows already because he's probably tested the concept on somebody at some point in time at Terminus. So I would tend to think they probably can't. They probably wouldn't want to, because once someone fully turns, you know, they're full zombie mode, full infected mode in that capacity. So if they were to eat them, I would think that they would get a bacterial infection, or they would just get sick. I don't know if they would necessarily die from it, if their body would be able to fight it off, because your stomach acids and everything are pretty strong. But I mean, you could, who knows? I mean, you could still get some kind of infection from it. Could you turn to walker if you ate one? If the infection kills you, yeah, you could. But I don't think it normally transmits that way. A lot of other questions here people were wondering or asking about was with regards to Bob, and, you know, what's happening right now with Gareth and the others eating him. If he was bitten, will they die? Will they turn? I believe the answer is no, because it's so soon. He hasn't fully died yet, so and they haven't eaten that much, so they'll probably be okay if they find out that he's been bitten and then they stop eating his leg right away. Brutal stuff to talk about. Anyway, next question is from Luke Pembo, and he says, "Hey Trev, here is a video suggestion for you. Could you do a video talking about Sasha possibly taking on the role of Andrea from the comic book series?" So what he means by that and what that implies, spoilers for the comic book series. Andrea in the comic book series is still alive up until this point. The TV series, obviously, she isn't. Her and Rick actually get married, or they're at least dating, and she's helping to raise Carl and everything like that. They're living together and all that. So that's pretty cool in the comic book series, but the Andrea is a totally different version from the TV series. If you read the comic book, you'll get it. You'll understand where Andrea's from. She never hooks up with the governor. She never does a lot of things she does in the TV series, like sleep with Shane and some of the other things. So she's a really, really cool character. Do I think Sasha is kind of taking on her role or becoming her? I wouldn't like to see Sasha and Rick. I don't know. Sasha, I'm not that big of a fan of her character. I don't necessarily have a good idea of what they're going to do with her in the series, if she's even going to survive for very long. but I would not like to see her getting together with Rick, even though she is pretty tough and everything like that. And she's probably close to, maybe not as tough as Michonne, but she's, somewhere close to that range, I want to say, in terms. She's a tough chick, but I just personally don't like her, I don't know, her attitude and stuff. She's bossing people around. She's kind of rough around the edges. She's kind of, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of her. I wouldn't really like to see her with Rick. Her and Bob is fine, but I think Michonne is a better match for Rick. I'd rather see Michonne and Rick than Sasha and Rick, or anybody other. I'm not a big fan of Sasha. It's just my own personal opinion. Anyway, I do feel bad for her, though, with what's happening with Bob and what we're going to see come up this weekend for sure. Next question is from SurvivalHorrorNetwork Reloaded, and he or she asks, "Hey Trev, you should maybe do a video about Empire of the Dead by George A. Romero. I would really appreciate that. What do you think of the comic book?" So what he's talking about is a new comic book series that started last year, I believe. I reviewed the premiere, or the year before. Yeah, like within the last year. From George A. Romero, the creator of the Dead series, Night of the Living Dead. What we know of modern zombies, basically, it was his idea pretty much in movies. So he was doing a comic book series. I tried reading it. I hated the artwork, man. I absolutely could not look at it. I couldn't stand it. Whoever the artist is on that book, I can't stand it. It looks like chicken scratch or something. I don't like it at all. So I couldn't get into it. I reviewed the first one. I thought it was pretty good, but I can't get into the artwork. And I got to be able to, with a comic book, it's extremely important because every page you're looking at, you get more than half the meaning from the visuals, from the artwork, and I just couldn't stand the artwork. Also, are there vampires in that one? I thought I saw something that looked more like a vampire than a zombie, and I was like, what is this? I don't know. I probably won't get into it. I probably won't do any more videos about it unless they end up making it into a TV series or something. Then I might be more intrigued. But so far, not that impressed. Think maybe George A. Romero, with regards to zombies, his time at the top with his zombie movies has been over for a while, and I think he probably won't get back to the top. And nothing will beat The Walking Dead at this point, I don't think. Maybe ever. In our lifetimes, anyway, with regards to zombie apocalypses, stories and movies, anyway. Next question is from Northern Girly 08, and she asks, "Hey Trev, I would like to know your thoughts on what you think do Bob and Gareth have a previous history?" So a couple of people asked this one. It wasn't just her. There was a few, like 3 or 4 people. I don't think so, but we don't know all of Bob's story, so we don't know everything about the groups he was with. But I think we're supposed to kind of fill in the blanks that the groups he was with are not going to cross over with our characters now or anything. I think the idea of him being alone kind of gave him a unique personality, and that was kind of part of his character and part of who he is. So no, I don't think him and Gareth have previous history, but Gareth obviously knows that he was captured there. He knows he was one of the people that were there, and he knows that he was one of the people that helped or escaped and helped destroy Terminus. So he contributed to it. So that's my extent of what I think it is. Could they have had some kind of previous history together? It's possible, but it didn't seem like it. If Bob knew about Terminus, it would have changed the story quite a bit. So I don't think so. Next question is from Mercedes B, and she asks, "Hey Trev, I have a quick question. Now that we know Terminus is full or was full of cannibals, do you think Gareth and Rick will join groups and go to DC?" I think I answered one similar to this one. Actually, this may be a duplicate. My bad if it is. No, I don't think they're going to team up at this point. I don't think we're going to see any kind of Rick and Rick's group, Survivors, and Gareth's group at this point. I was misled by the trailer. The trailer made it look like that, but it doesn't seem like it. Anyway, go on from there. Next question. The Fezman93 for Walking Dead Q&A. When they introduce Negan, do you think he will kill the same character from the comics, or will the writers go in a different direction and kill someone else like Daryl? That's a good question. I almost think that because they're always switching somebody out, maybe they'll throw us through a loop and they'll kill the same character as they kill in the comics. I won't give away any spoilers for anyone who hasn't read that part because that's fairly recent. But when we meet Negan, he kills someone with a baseball bat. I won't say who, but I think it might be a nice little twist if they just made it the exact same. Everybody would be expecting it to be someone else, and for it not to be that character that is in the comics. And if they just did the same thing, that would kind of be surprising because no one would think that they would do the same, right? You'd predict somebody else would be swapped out like they've been doing all throughout. So maybe they'll just do the same person. I think that would be an interesting kind of twist. Next question comes from Kempy X, and he or she asks, even though the scene with the walkers in the water was awesome, I can't help thinking that going into the water in the first place was a really bad idea. Wouldn't that water be infected? If someone had a scratch or cut on their leg, wouldn't the water infect them? And also if they swallowed water or got it in their eyes at close range with a walker that was bleeding or something. Okay, so he's just basically thinking that, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Well, the thing about this one is there was they had not eaten for a while, so they were pretty desperate in this situation. If they didn't score and find a lot of food, with the amount of characters they actually have as a part of Rick's group and no supplies, they were actually in a pretty desperate position there because they have not eaten properly, obviously, at Terminus. They haven't probably drank or anything or, had any, well, they had water from the stream, but they hadn't had anything to eat for a while anyway. So at least for a day or two, I would want to say. And even before that, they were kind of scavenging. They were kind of out and about, walking around, that kind of thing. So with this one, they were kind of desperate, I feel like, because they have so many people in the group now. It's such a big group. They need to find a lot of supplies or someone's going to starve, right? You could end up having a Terminus type situation where they either eat each other or they die. Who knows? They starve to death, right? Unless Daryl can shoot enough squirrels down with his crossbow. So they were desperate. It makes sense, I guess, that they would go in and go after it. And also, Kirkman's mentioned in the past that water doesn't, it doesn't make sense that the water, at least in his opinion, he doesn't view something in the water affecting the other person. So, we know that bites burn people out and kill people. We don't know about blood splatter. It doesn't seem like it because we've never had a character turn as a result of blood splatter, even if Rick goes into the prison with an axe and kills like 10 zombies at close range. The blood splatter, if it hits him in the eye or hits him in the mouth or who knows, whatever, also doesn't seem to have an effect. Either that or we don't know about it yet. It's never happened yet. So I do agree with you. It does make sense, logically, that if there's blood in the water and a person ingests it, that they could, become infected. They could die. It makes sense, but I guess the idea is that it only spreads from bites, so it's not that sensitive of a thing. Although, if you're at close range with one and there's guts in the water or something, and if you ingest it or something, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that killing you or something. But yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it. I don't think you're right. I'm not saying you're not right. It makes sense that it could transfer that way, but I think. It's going a little bit too in depth in terms of analysis to think. From what I've heard outside of the series, Kirkman doesn't think that far into it as far as I've heard. Okay, I'll probably make this one, or we'll do like one or two more. Yeah, two more. Okay, next question is from Duarte Albuquerque, something like that. Do you believe Daryl will become Dwight from the comics? Yes, I do. I've mentioned that in previous Q&As. After the jokes about the crossbow, I say that since Daryl and Rick are separated, well, and it looks like they might be separated for a while with Carol being with Daryl alone. Well, we'll have to see how that goes. We'll have to see if they're able to find Beth again. I tend to think they probably will, but will they get reunited again? Maybe not. Maybe they'll be separated permanently, which would be cool, because then if it was just the three of them and Daryl and Beth got into some kind of relationship, we'd have to see how Carol would feel about that, and maybe would she commit suicide or something, or who knows, I don't know. But that would make sense for the story, I think, and would be kind of cool to see what would happen with that. So I think that might be where they're going, which is an interesting direction, I think, to say the least. But I would like to think that they would meet up again before the end of Season 5. However, because Norman Reedus is working on so many different things, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of took Daryl and Carol and kind of drew them back from the story so we didn't get to see them every episode. Because if you think of it, Carol had such a huge part in the premiere. Daryl's has such a huge part throughout the series. It makes sense that they'd kind of draw them back a bit and then maybe have them come back in later on, because we've got so many other characters now that we're meeting, getting to know Gabriel and all the others. So definitely it would make sense to spread out that, group and maybe have them meet again eventually. And yes, I do think you're probably right about that. I think it makes sense, but we'll have to see. I kind of like seeing Daryl with the group too. So who knows? And last question will be from Dizzy Diz. Hey Trev, thought you would be interested in this. So this is an article that he sent me. You can look this one up on Google. It's about a Walking Dead star getting 18 years in prison for sending toxic poisons to Obama. I heard about this a while ago, and it looks like she's been convicted, I guess, so she's going to get 18 years. She's not like a Survivor actress. She's just a zombie actress anyway. So she played as a few different zombies, I think, throughout the throughout the series as it was going through. And as far as I know, I've looked it up a little bit. She is a legit actress and stuff, but yeah, that's really weird, man. That's crazy that somebody would do that. I don't understand what the thoughts are behind that. I mean, the president, like Obama, I don't want to get too into politics and stuff anyway, but do presidents really do that? I don't believe presidents really do that much. That's my belief. My belief is, now some people say, oh, of course they do. They run the country. They're the top person in charge of the country and thus the world. Well, I disagree. I tend to think it's more the people behind the scenes. It's the bankers. It's the people that are funding. It's the military-industrial complex. So I tend to think more along the lines of presidents are mainly they're mainly presenters, to tell you the truth. They present their speeches, they kiss babies, they do what they have to do to look great in public and get voted in. Say they're going to change everything, then as soon as they get in office, nothing changes. It's all the same old stuff. The last president, if you think of the United States, I would say personally, who actually went to change things and used the power he was given was JFK. And we all remember what happened to him. Actually tried to stop war, actually tried to, I don't want to get into a political rant here, but he actually tried to, make the world more peaceful overall, right? And look what happened to him. So anyway, I tend to be a person who thinks, like, what does she think she's doing? Like, trying to get attention or what? I don't know. Maybe that's what it's about. But if you kill Obama, it's not going to do anything. Like, what's that going to change? It's not going to change anything. It's just like when you had Bush's term and Obama comes in, as if it's going to be different. And it's been exactly the same, if not worse, just one thing after another. And the debt meter in the States just keeps going and going and going. Now it's like 17 trillion, whereas back in the Bush era, it wasn't past 10. So it's just it really doesn't matter that much anyway, to tell you the truth, in my opinion, anyways. So I think mostly presidents, all they're there for is for show. It is my thoughts on that. Anyway, it's pretty stupid that she would do something like that. Like, what's that gonna? Like I said, what's that gonna accomplish anyway? Anyway, kind of went on for a little while there. I don't generally do political type topics, but if you guys want to see stuff like that, I'm open to try it. I can give my political views and my views on the world, my zeitgeist, so to speak, on how I think the world really runs, the world really works. Not totally conspiracy theorist, but I believe in the power of money. Above voted officials, above everything else, I believe money in capitalistic society is king. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. So anyway, if you guys want to see me do some kind of political topics or conspiracy theory topics, hey, send them to me. I've done a few before, and they turned out pretty good. I like them anyway. So let me know what you guys think about all of that, of the different questions we answered in this one. And I may do one again tomorrow. If you guys have any other questions, send them to me through private message on YouTube, and I may answer them in another Q&A. Anyway, if you like this video, please do me a favor, click the thumbs up, like it below. If you want to help support the channel, please share it, please favorite it. And as always, guys, that's it for today's video. I'll see you tomorrow. It's Trev, saying peace.